All right, we are live. What is my sound doing now? Let's see. Oh, no,
All right, I'm sounding better now. I hit something by accident. It's like a joke, right? All right. We are on the live right now. My goodness, my goodness. Let me try this one. Yes. We are on the live. All right. Thanks for joining us. I have seen a few people already on the live with us, and we are going to roll. I've seen already 2 likes on the show, and I'm just holding for you to hit the share button, hit the like if you haven't already done it. I know more than 2 are watching, so I'm hoping that you can hit the share. You can hit the like and the thumbs up and the heart if you are watching on a place where you can do the heart or where you can do the like, however one is showing on your device. Please hit the like and hit the share and let's roll. All right, so we are on the live today, and I am hoping that you are ready to roll with us. My sound effects thing is not working today, so I'm not going to be able to do my magic on the sound effects, but I'm ready, and I hope you are. We have a wonderful show today. So, uh, what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about this. Let's show you our topic for today. Our topic for today is right there on our screen, episode number 35. It is cultural stress. We are talking about how to handle cultural stress among the single life people. In fact, cultural stress cuts across a huge sector of our population. As long as you have moved or lived in a place where you don't have your own people, you are definitely going to meet some kind of stress of some sort, some cultural stress. But we just wanted to cater to people that we talked about last week, single people who are facing tremendous stress. And the fact that handling cultural stress would be a great idea to reduce some of the stresses or some of the delays that they have in getting themselves married. So that is what we are going to talk about today, cultural stress among single people, how to handle cultural stress. But before we move forward, I know we always have what do you call we have a health tip for the week, and so today our health tip is just quick and easy. Our health tip is that apart from doing all the good stuff that you do in terms of exercise and eating great and doing all those good stuff, the next thing you do, especially if you are in a place where the weather is warming up, those of us who are approaching summer, if not already in summer, our health tip is that as you stay outdoors, we encourage you to step out and move out and walk, do that gardening, do that grilling and whatever it is that will take you from indoors to outdoors, like our lady right there on the screen. But that being said, we also want you to protect yourself against insect bites, in particular against mosquito bites, because mosquitoes transmit lots of dangerous diseases. Those in the tropics, you already know that mosquitoes are the carriers of the Anopheles bug that causes malaria. But for those of us who are in the colder climate, who are stepping out now, we know of several bird flus and other diseases that the mosquitoes also carry. And we want you to put on mosquito repellent or any insect repellent that you can have, you get your hands on during this summer season as you step out to do some grilling, some gardening, or whatever takes you outdoor, so that you protect yourself against any diseases that are carried by mosquitoes in this season. All right, so that's our health tip. I don't know if you want to add
Yeah,
anything.
so apart from mosquito insect repellent, you can also wear long sleeves if you know you're going to stay out for too long.
Mhm.
And in order to prevent the bites from the mosquito, you can wear long sleeves, something to cover you up. so that in case you stay deep into the night, because we know that it doesn't get dark that early, but the mosquitoes do come out even when the sun is still around. So
Yes.
try and cover up if you don't have mosquito repellents, especially with the children around. Try and spray them with something so that it will repel the mosquitoes biting them.
All right. That is our health tip for the week. All right. So we are going to move on straight to our show today. And as you have already seen, we are talking about the cultural stress that single people face, and most people actually face apart from singles, and how to handle them. So we have some questions that we want to answer. And so we're going to use this as a means of getting to those questions, and then we will answer them and have a fruitful discussion. But as we always roll, we want you to be part of the conversation. So you can bring in your own questions, or if not a question, a comment, you can bring in your own comment. You want to have a fruitful and an enjoyable discussion. So bring your ideas, bring your questions, and let us enjoy this time together. So the first thing that we are going to talk about is what is cultural stress? What is actually cultural stress? All right. And then after that, we're going to talk about the elements of culture. What is actually in culture that can produce stress. And then also we want to talk about the effects of these on the life of a single person. I mean, this applies to anybody, including the marriage, but we're going to zoom in on the life of the single person, the effects of cultural stress on their lives. And then we want to talk about how to handle different cultures and how to handle the stresses that come your way. And then finally, we want to give our own thoughts concerning the subject. So I just need you to stay close and be part of the conversation. All right. So we're going to start again with the first one. What is cultural stress? You want to start, honey, or you want to?
Cultural stress.
Yeah.
So let's start with culture before we get to the stress, right? So what is culture? Culture is a way of life of people or any social group, a way of life of a social group. So that is a culture, your way of life.
It's the way of life of a people is your culture, right? My goodness. My goodness. All right. And so the way of life, I mean, if you want to talk about it, including the way of life includes everything concerning that group of people, right? Including everything that you can imagine, the way they conduct themselves. I think we have another slide for what that actually entails. But yeah, the way of life of people. And I think that we are going to talk about what the elements of culture are. And this will actually expand it more for us to understand. So people, their language, that is one, right?
Yeah.
And their foods. When you talk about elements of culture, the language, the foods, and you want to add anything?
Yeah, and their rituals,
The
the things
rituals,
that they do,
the traditions,
yeah,
and everything concerning the way, their belief system, all those things formulate a people's culture. So when we say culture is something that is going to potentially be a stress-causing issue for single people, we are basically talking about things like these that eventually become an impediment in a single life or in a person who is not married in their life. Of course, it happens also in anybody else's life. But as we want to help our single people today, we want to eventually go there.
yeah, the foods that they eat, that group of people eat, the diet.
Their diet, their socioeconomics. Well, I don't know that I should ask socioeconomics because that would basically be part of any other group of people. But yeah, their entire belief system. That is more like their culture, their language they speak. The foods that they eat, their and everything that they hold dear to their hearts. Those are the things that form the culture of a group of people. And
We can also add the the art,
their art.
the way that they sculpture is different. And even the dance.
Their dances. Yeah, my
they have
goodness,
like
my
different
goodness.
style, the way that the body moves
Yeah,
differently. That can be their culture.
it can be their
And
culture.
their architecture, the way they build their
The way
houses.
they build their houses, the way they build their house. That's huge. Can vary from a group of people who only believe in living in colonial homes, and you don't believe in living in colonial homes. Colonial homes. Those of you from where we are, you understand it better. So yeah, their design, their systems of life, anything concerning that group of people, is part of the elements that form a people's or a group's culture. That is what that is. Anything else?
So I think we did not define the cultural stress. We just defined
We
culture.
just define culture. Okay, so let's go back
Now
a
that
little
we
bit.
know more about the culture, how do we define cultural stress?
So what is cultural stress? What is cultural stress? Cultural stress, basically, I'll take that first, as the stress that comes when a group of people or when a people it becomes exposed to a new culture altogether, and that becomes stressful to them. That becomes something that they are not used to. The fact that they are not used to that can eventually make them stressed. So some people are so stressed because they're seeing a whole slew of people as migrants. They see some people who don't like migrants, who don't like people to migrate. It's not because of anything. It's because of the stress that comes with dealing with a whole new set of people who live differently, who believe in different things, whose livelihood are dependent on so vast a difference of what you already believe in. So that is what produces the stress. So the stress comes when you begin to see things that are not, close to what you know, things that you see as foreign, things that you never thought you would do. You see people do, and you become stressed because you are living with these people, or you are seeing these people, and all these things that they are showing or that they have they have never been seen. You don't understand. Sometimes even the belief system can become scary to some people if you have them around and you're not used to them. So that is where the stress comes in. And for the single person, it's even unique because now you're a single man or a single woman, and you are trying to find somebody to marry. And of course, the people that are around, if you haven't already gotten anybody from your own culture, you haven't gotten anybody from your own belief system, you haven't gotten anybody from your own language, you haven't gotten anybody that eats the food you eat, then it becomes stressful when we say venture into expanding your social circle. And you remember in our last show, one of the things we said was that for the single person, you have to try and expand your social circles. Meet more people, meet a newer group of people, so that by so doing you meet the Mr. or Mrs. Right. But here's the case: if you're meeting new people who do not belong in your social class or social group of people, your culture, it becomes stressful. Because how are you going to adapt? How are you going to be able to articulate your beliefs, to such a person? And then other things that we are going to consider. Have anything to add?
Oh, thank you.
All right. So that is what we mean by cultural stress. The stress that comes as a result of meeting new language, new people, new foods, new livelihood, new way of life of other people. And especially if you are in a single state, if you are not married and you're looking to have somebody, and you are looking to look outside your own culture, then the stress comes in, because how are you going to do it? So that adds to the stress of being single by itself. The fact that you need to adapt, the fact that you need to mingle with other people from outside your own culture becomes a stress. And that's what we want to deal with.
Yeah.
Right.
So like with a single person, maybe when the person was growing up, the norms, the things that they've seen people do, is they are so used to that. Then all of a sudden they are being introduced to something new. So that can be really stressful. And maybe when they were growing up, their culture, people look down or frown upon people that do not marry from their kind, meaning that do not marry from their
Their
culture.
culture.
It's frowned upon. So maybe you are from one ethnic city, and people that marry this particular group are frowned upon. But where you are now, these are the people around you. So that can be very stressful, because growing up, you've been told or you've learned that this group of people are not like the kind of person that you have to, get entangled with. Then all of a sudden, these are the people around you. So that can create stress as a single person.
I can create a tremendous stress. And as a matter of fact, I'm not sure if we have a slide about that particular aspect of life, of stress in the single people's life, but it could be a huge stress. I think we're going to meet some of them. Let's move on a little bit to next slide. Is that what are the effects of different cultures on the single life? Yeah, I think this is going to actually bring that point out. What are some of the effects of different cultures on a single person's life? Different cultures on a single person's life. Well, the first one that I think is going to be, if you are a single person and you are living among a group of people where you don't see only your culture, some of the stress that will come to you could lead it to even depression. Depression could be one of the effects of the stress on a single person's life, because you cannot you are basically seeing people, all right, and people, people are people, but then for whatever reason or the other, you are still not married, and that stress of seeing people that you cannot marry can also make you lonely, and loneliness follows. Depression follows after loneliness. So the single person dealing with cultural stress, being exposed to a lot of different groups to whom they cannot articulate, to whom they cannot, have anything to do with, becomes alone. They will feel alone. I can use this place as an example. We are in the United States, over 300 million people right now, including men and women all together. So if you're a man and among 300 million people, you cannot find somebody, how stressful could that be? Oh my goodness. that is a huge stress. That's a huge stress. And the sad thing is, you may be living among a huge population of people around you, but because they are of different culture from you, you are denying yourself. I would say denying yourself because you probably could still go out there and get somebody, marry them. But because of the cultural differences here, you may be restricting yourself, and that will make you lonely, and that can make you depressed. So I think that is what I have to say. I don't know if you want to.
And also, if you're not used to the new culture or the new way of life of other people, you are easily irritable. You become so angry easily because you don't really understand what is going on. In your mind, you're like, why is it that these people are like that? Because you don't understand their way of life. So because you're coming from a different area, you tend to be a little not happy with the lifestyle of some group of people. So that can be an effect on you as a person.
Can be a huge effect on you as a person. So that is really huge. It makes you very depressed and alone, living among people that are not from your culture. For whatever reason, why we're going to hit on why you should break those barriers. But if you are already you haven't broken those barriers, living among cultures that are different from you could lead to depression if you are stressed there by it. If you're not stressed, then you're fine. But loneliness can lead to depression, and that is what we don't want to have ourselves doing. Is there any other thing that we want to add on that?
So, in fact, we can talk about language, right?
Yeah. So if we do the language, yeah.
Yeah. So for language, we are lucky that at least English language is the big one. If you think about Europeans, Some of them speak different language other than English. And if you are from a different culture and you have to get used to this new culture, you have to learn their language. You have to really learn their language. And I don't know, I'm very bad in learning languages. I don't know how I can be able to learn so that you can get used to somebody around you. So it's something that you have to look at, language barrier.
Language stress, language, definitely. Language can lead to a huge problem on a single person's life, because you cannot articulate in the language of some of the people that are around. The prospects, I should say, prospective people on the market may be speaking different languages, and so it can give you a hesitation. Sometimes it's not even a different language. It could be the same language, but the accent will throw some people off. In the United States, even a huge country, you have the southern accent and then the eastern or northern accent. And people from the south speak completely different. Same English, they understand each other, but the accents are different. And somebody can be restricted from getting somebody to marry if they have made, or if they have talked to themselves that they have to marry from this particular group, and then they happen to live among the South, where you don't have people who speak with your accent. If that becomes an issue for you, then obviously it will be a huge, a deterring factor for a single person from getting married. And we could bring it to other places, in places where Asante is speaking, and Ewe is among the people you are living with. Then if you have become the person who wants to stick to one language, that becomes a huge issue for you. And so those are some of the things that happen to single people. The effects of cultural differences can be really huge, and some people are so very keen on those things that it prevents them from reaching out, because they want to make sure that they speak the same language you speak. As for some people, you may even understand them, but the fact that there's an accent is a throw off. First time, they hear, this person's not from here. If they're not from here, then I got nothing to do with them. And as a single person, if that is your case, you're gonna be single for a long time. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be single for a long time. So culture can be an issue in the life of a single person if those things matter. So those are some of the things. The other thing that could happen is some people, the foods. I can't eat any other food, but I gotta stick to my own, whatever my parents have taught me to eat, or where I am from. This is the way we do our things. And so if you are somebody who is, those things are very dear to you and you're single, then you're going to be reserved. You're going to be not reaching out. You're not going to be opening up to people among whom you may be living currently. And that can basically put another stress. So cultural stress on top of your being stressed by being alone, being single. So those are some of the things that can happen if somebody is single and they are facing different cultures. I don't know if you're saying anything.
Yeah, and with the foods, I know some cultures, they use their hands to eat.
Oh my goodness.
Or their fingers, they use their fingers. Instead of the fork and knives. So if that is a throw for you, I don't know, that's their culture. They are comfortable eating with their hands, and they suck the thumb and and do all that. And some cultures too, they eat in a group. Like the family will come together and they share a plate. Like they put everything in one bowl and they sit around and they enjoy each other. And some people will sit on the floor when they are eating. So there are so many different kinds of cultures out there that may be different from what you are used to.
My goodness, that's the key. They may be different from what you are used to. And as a single person, if you are restricted to only the people you are used to, then that becomes a greater stress for you. It's going to make your life even harder. And that is what we are talking about as a single life stress that comes, especially living among different cultures. So that is some of them. I don't know if you have anything else to add on to that. Yeah. So we are going to move forward then. And I think the next one we're going to talk about is we want you to share the stream before we move forward. This is a time to share, like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you haven't followed our YouTube, our Facebook channel, this is the time to follow our Facebook. Just click the follow button and do all that good stuff so that we will reach more people. We have a lot of content on our YouTube channel on health and other issues. And this show is also a podcast on Apple Podcasts or what are the other podcast destinations? All the other podcasts that you can think of: Google, Apple, this green one I forgot. All of them, basically. Just click and like and subscribe and join the family so that we can basically do stuff together. So now, with that out of the way, our next thing is that how do we handle the stress of different cultures? How do we, this is the key, this is basically the topic that we have come to tackle. How do we handle the stress of different cultures? And we're going to go by the same list that we made. Some of them we can talk about. And if you are watching, make sure we share your comments. If you have any answer that we may not have said, you can bring it up. Even if we say it and you agree, type "I agree" in the comment section and chat it up so we can all see your points. But yeah, so the first thing that we want to talk about, again, handling cultural stress, especially among different cultures in a single life place. The first thing, how do you handle it? You want to start? Or?
Yeah, you have to learn to assimilate.
You have to learn to assimilate. My goodness, that's a huge one. Assimilation. You have to learn to assimilate. Some people, we want to explain. Actually, go ahead.
Yeah, so some people keep to themselves when they move to another area. They are ignorant about the culture around them. They don't participate in the social activities. They don't do anything. All that they know is their group of people and what they are used to. They are not ready to learn anything new. Then it means that you're not assimilating. You're not getting comfortable. You're not getting used to your surroundings and your new area. So in order to be able to handle all these new things happening around you, you have to take your time and learn the new culture that is being exposed to you. So how do you do that? You have to participate in society, in social activities. So when things are happening around you, you have to take interest. You have to ask questions. You have to try and learn the way why people do certain things. So we have this area, I think basketball is a big thing here, right? And instead of football, they have instead of soccer, they have something special that they use their hand to play, but they call what? Football. So it's an activity that happened in this area because you want to understand. Sometimes you go to work and people are talking and you feel so isolated because you have no idea what is happening around you. So in order to be comfortable in the new area that you are, you try and learn and try to know things that are happening around you. If you come to sports, ask questions. You're like, how come that it's a football, but they use their hands to play or to throw or to catch, So stuff like that. It happens, but you have to be able to learn and ask questions. And also with the new place that you are, change of weather. We have winter, summer, spring, fall, and all that happening around you. Some people have no idea. They just want to dress the way that I think here you cannot because the weather will tell you to do otherwise, right?
Yeah.
So there are certain things that they wear every now and then, every season. You have to learn to be informed, learn and assimilate, get comfortable, get used to the people around you. And in so doing, I think you are going to learn a lot so that depression and being lonely or all that wouldn't happen to you.
My goodness. So that is a huge point. To assimilate, it's very huge. It's not easy. If you are an introvert like me, you would try and something within you say, "Oh, stay by yourself. Oh, you don't want any trouble." Oh, and then and then you'll be stuck to yourself. But if you're a single person and you want to break the ice of singleness, you want to just pop out. You got to be able to assimilate wherever you are. And by assimilation, she talked about, a lot of things. But, the sports is one. Those are some of the things that you can. Last time we had an interview with a doctor, he says that the way he gets more patients is that he talks about, he in his practice, he actually has one of those champions of football in the US in his practice. So when it comes, it's a conversation starter, and he follows football so that he can be on the same level with them when they come in. But if you are stuck to yourself all the time, you're a single person, all right, and you don't want to be, you don't want to know anything around you, then it's going to be hard to break that singleness, to break that. You have to learn to assimilate. I'm not saying that, you have to assimilate just so you can marry the people who are not people you don't want to marry. No, that's not what I'm saying. This is actually for everybody, wherever you may be. Even if it's in your own culture and you move to a different place, people don't know you until you begin to strike a conversation, you begin to learn and do the things that the people in the same area do. You probably will be stuck to yourself, and loneliness will continue. And especially if you're not married, it's going to make it even harder to meet more people. To get out of the single life, you have to know people who also know people who also know people, and perchance some of those will lead to referrals, connections, dates and stuff that will eventually bring Mr. or Mrs. Right. So get out of your shell and assimilate. Know the place you are. Even if you don't want to marry from them, generally speaking, it is good to be. I try. Well, I'm trying to learn football, but I can't get it. Can't get that concept. Yeah, I tried, and as soon as I'm almost done getting it, then something happens and I can't follow, and then I forget everything. But at least I know what is touchdown. My goodness. Basketball, whatever it is in your area, you have to learn to know what's going on. Doing that will make you feel part of the culture. Basically, what it is you're trying to feel a part of the culture, trying to know what is around you, trying to be part of the community. And by being part of the community where you are, you expand your tentacles if you are a single person, and that will help you. And if you're not single and you do that, it gives you a place to vent, a place to make friends, and not be alone, because being alone and by itself, whether or not you're married, is something that can produce more stress onto you. So that is definitely very important. What's the other thing you could do? Language. Oh my goodness, that is huge. Have you seen people going on a public transportation, and the people who are not, originally from the place, begin to speak their language as if they are the only people there, yelling and screaming. Meanwhile, the language you are speaking is foreign to the place. The people there don't even understand you. I'm not saying don't speak your language, but if you speak like you own the place, you are turning people off. You have to be part of the place you live. Don't, what you do is you are telling people you are not from here. You are not from here. And yeah, it's good to be proud of where you are from. But if you are part of the culture, if you are part of a place, you live in a place, show that you're also part of the culture. Don't just be, hey, I'm not from here, so I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to lay the way I want. Yeah, I mean, it's good. But don't throw it in the face of people, especially if you're a single person and you want to expand your tentacles. That's going to be a disaster for you, because you're going to throw people off. You're already showing people that you are not American. You're not English. You are not a German. You are not a Ghanaian. You are not a Fanti. You are not an Airway. You are not an Akan. You are not whatever language you're speaking. Everybody else is different, and so you become restricted. And if you don't have enough of the people that speak your language around, you are going to be alone, because all you do is to stick to the people and the way of life or your culture. And that bars you from expanding your tentacles, making friends, and reducing the stress.
Because the assimilation, we are just saying it, but it can be very difficult, because like the people around you that you are trying to talk to. You talk and they look at your face like, what are you talking about?
My goodness.
They have no idea. They hardly understand what you're saying. They listen and listen and they cannot get what you're saying. And like some cultures, when you're talking to them, you have to look down, right? As a sign of respect. That's what you've learnt or you know. So I like an elderly person. But here or a different culture, when you talk and you do that, they think that you are timid. Or some people take it as being disrespectful, you know, because it's different. It's being translated in a different way from where you are. So if you don't assimilate, if you don't get to know the way of life or where you are, then you stick to what you've been exposed to, you're going to be in trouble. Because in your mind, you think that you are being respectful and you are being nice to them, but in their mind, they feel like you're rude.
You're rude or you're
Because
timid.
for them, they think that you have to look at eyeball to eyeball when you're talking to them. But to look down and put your hand behind your back as being respectful, like when you go to work and you are working and your boss come, you just want to be, but here it's not like that. They want you to have a one-on-one conversation, like look into their eyeball and talk, express how you feel about the job, you know. But when you were growing up or what you've been exposed to, you are kind of like you can't even look in the eye of the person you're talking to because that's disrespectful. So learning the culture of wherever you are is very important. And in that case, you can really engage, you know, through that as a single person. The person, I like the way you express yourself. And they will try to know also your culture. You know, some people are very curious. We keep watching this mixed marriages happening of late. The whites marrying the Nigerians and the Ghanaians and all that. It's all out there. How did it happen? Because they open up to a different culture. And the lens, it comes with their own stresses though.
Yes,
that
of
maybe
course.
we have to delve into. But for now, just open up and learn other people's way of life, assimilate, so that you can really move or widen your friendship, so that it can lead to something.
My
That
goodness.
yeah.
My goodness. My goodness. That is very deep. It's important. Very important. Now, one thing that I've also noticed that is that it is like we're saying is Gifty said it's not easy to assimilate, to take the first initiatives, especially because you've been trained some way for a long time, right? But here is the key. Or should I say even the bad news. Sometimes when you even reach out, you get a cold feet. There's been times that I've waved my hand to greet people, and they look at your face and they don't greet you back, or they don't wave back. My goodness. And it happens, after all these years, it still happens. And I mean, I'm not saying it happen. Those people do it only to the people outside their culture. I'm pretty sure that some people are naturally mean. They'll do it to anybody, regardless of who they are. As long as they don't know you, they will try and and just not mess with you at all. Just go your way, I'm my way. But that being said, if you meet resistance, you don't stop. You don't stop. It is good for your mental health to be able to just freely link up to people. Connections. I think if you started watching this series on stress, you would probably remember one of the first things we said in the beginning on stress management is that you have to connect to people. And not you can't connect to everybody. Of course not. Even in neighborhoods, some neighbors, are openly, freely talking, saying hi, but not everybody is going to do that. It rarely happens that everybody is going to be nice to you. So one experience one bad experience should not stop you from reaching out and and being connected, because that is especially important for people who are single. That is how you meet more people. We're trying to make sure that you reduce your stress on being alone to get in a place where you have so many friends to choose from. And if God allows, perchance, even if the person is not from your culture, you can actually link up to people who can lead you to the right people that you want, if you are so restrictive about marrying from a different culture, which is another thing that we will talk about in terms of handling. But before that, the assimilation, we talked about what? The language, we talked about food, we talked about social activities, joining social clubs, in the places that you live, going to the soccer games or the football games or the parades that happen, on holidays and stuff like that. Those are all avenues to open up and the stress in terms of cultural stress, distress, and be free. Let yourself loose a little bit in that regard.
And the next one is news. Like you have to be open to things happening around you by listening to the news. I know some people live here, but all that they know is Ghana news. That's where we come from, right? So they listen to the news outside where they are living right now. So if you are in a different area, a different place, you have to know current affairs,
What is
things
going on?
that are happening around you. You just don't be ignorant about everything. I remember when I came, something was happening in New York, the 9/11. I have no idea. I'm like, I'm watching my show. What's happening? I just want to change the channel because I have no idea
What was going on?
what was going on because I did not know. But you have to open up to listening to the news, if not even the national news, at least the local news, so that you know what's happening in your neighborhood. You don't want to live in ignorance.
And that is huge. That is huge. People living in places that they have no idea what is going on because they're basically a social island in the place where they are living. They are an island, untouchable. They know nothing that's about them, nothing that's going on in the community. Nothing about them is important. All is me, my work, and home. Me, my work, and home. And then they raise kids to be that way. And then when the kids are ready to marry, then the stress starts because all they know is me, my work, and home. Meanwhile, marriage doesn't come only from those places. You may have to spread out a little bit, know more people in order to have the best choices among the lot that you know. If you have so few and no prospects from there, it's going to be more stressful. So, yes, definitely abreast yourself with what's going on around you. Be part of your community. Be part of the things that are going on in your area and learn to assimilate, learn to be part of your culture that is around you. If you are living in a big city, you're living in Accra, living in New York, living in LA, you're living in Jakarta, you're living in what other big cities are people watching us from? you are living in a big place, you can still be there and be alone. Why? Because you don't know what's around you. Some people don't even know the person in their next door apartment. They don't even know. They don't care to know. It's just me. I come back from work. I go to my apartment. But if you took a time to say hi on Christmas, I'm gonna give me a cookie or something. Maybe when you are not home and the smoke detector is gone, this person may call the cab, may call the ambulance for you. Or you are there and something is wrong. They may because of just saying hi and being friendly. That is all that matters. So definitely reach out and know your community. And news is one of the ways to do that. Add anything?
Yeah, I think you touched on it. Doing away with prejudice, right? So you
So
get
that's the next huge one.
the
My
next
goodness.
huge
My goodness. Doing away with prejudice.
So you have your own mindset or your own ideas about some group of people. Hey, this place you can marry a kata person. No way. So that's your own prejudice in you. And that may not be true. Maybe the person that you got to know did not show good character. It doesn't mean they are all the same. So you have to do away with your prejudices so that you open up to the prospects that we are talking about. You open up to other people that are available. But if you carry your prejudice with you, it's likely that you're going to shun a lot of people that belong to that group. And that may be a way of not getting to meet your future partner.
My goodness, that is big. My goodness, that is huge. Prejudice. That's a whole show by itself, right? Man, that is big. Some people have severe prejudices. When we talk about prejudice, we only think it's a white man having prejudice on black people. No. That's one. But there are some black people who have, prejudice on other black people just by virtue of where they come from. This guy is from the south. This guy is from the west. This guy is from the east. This guy is from the north. So we don't have anything to do with them. Or this guy is an Ewe. This guy is a Fanti. This guy is a Dagati. This guy is an Akan. This guy is an Ashanti. and so we don't have anything to do with them.
Even if you bring it to religion, some people say this is Pentecostal, this is charismatic, this is
This
Orthodox, this
Orthodox.
is all that.
So
You know,
they basically don't want anything to do with them. If you're a single person and you are of that type, please repent. My goodness. Repent, my goodness. Wow. Yes, you have to repent. You cannot keep that on you and expect to get the best. Marrying, you may marry, but you probably will restrict yourself from getting the best person. Why? Because you are excluding a huge number of people who could produce a potentially, a best candidate for you to marry. But because of your social prejudices that you have, you cut people off. And as a matter of fact, I hate prejudices a lot because I don't want somebody to define me by somebody else's character. No, I don't even know them. The fact that they look like me doesn't mean what they believe is the same thing that I believe. The fact that somebody, looks like me, whether it's because of my skin color or it's because of my height or my accent or where I went to school or where I go to church. The fact that somebody is like me and they did something that you don't like doesn't mean I'm going to do the same thing. In fact, if you're a human being and you have those prejudices, you are actually becoming less than human because God has given us big things to think beyond those things. How could you group a whole people? It's like me saying that all white people are racist. No, it's not true. It can never be true. Even if one is not, I will still take that one is there. You see what I'm saying? So even if one person defies the prejudice of a whole group, you have to drop your prejudices. I don't know if I'm making sense. So let's drop all the small prejudices. Some of us have prejudices, going back to how you were taught. Somebody taught you that these people, you don't marry them. I know some of them. I don't want to mention them because it may offend some people. If you marry from this group of people, all your money is going to go to their family. That's the prejudice out there. If you marry from this group of people, you will never amount to anything because the women from there, they will make sure that you spend and spend and spend. If you marry from these people, those are all prejudices that have been made by people. Granted, maybe there may be truth because most people may be doing it. It doesn't mean that all of them. You see what I'm saying? And that is why you cannot win the argument of being prejudicial on any group of people. Because there ain't no group of people who are all the same. And it is sad to define somebody by a group's character that you think. And sometimes those characteristics are things we have already created for them. It's not true even. You look at them, you fear, and then you create a label and give and paint the whole group of people with that label, which may be false. Most of the time it is false. But the sad thing is you are painting a whole group of people that way. So when you're going to meet somebody from that group and you're a prospect, you are looking for a husband and you see that group, already you have written them off. Oh, men from these people, no. My mom told me that
when I was growing up,
I should avoid every man from this place. And there may be one man, even if your mom was true, there could be just one man from there that is not like that. So prejudices must be dropped, especially if you're a single person. Just get your husband or your wife first. After that, you can take back your prejudices.
If that's what your parents are telling you, maybe whilst you were growing up, you got to that age and they keep hammering that into you, that these group of people, I don't want them in my family. These people are not good people, So if they keep saying it over and over and you meet someone, your chance of bringing them home is very low because your parents are not going to appreciate them. So they limit you, and that's where the stress comes in. So I think we should be able to educate, the people that influence us have their own way of thinking. We have to be able to explain to them, oh, mom, he is like this. Get to know him first before you conclude, oh, this person is like that. So even if you keep hearing from your folks, you keep hearing from the people around you that these people are like that, and you find somebody who is a prospect and you take the person home, you have to take the person home and try, introduce them and educate them and give them the chance to know the person. But in your mind, you're like, oh, my parents will not be happy with this one. Oh, my parents will not be happy with that. And in that case, you are going to stay single for a very long time.
Very long time.
So we have to learn to educate the people that have prejudices too, apart from us.
Definitely. We have to learn to educate them. And there's a global village right now. You know, we are in the United States. But, you know, some years ago, I remember those years. Like I said, I'm not old. But I remember those years where if you had to make a call, you had to go to the buy a phone card and, you know, scratch the phone card off and then hope that when you pick that somebody will be there to pick up your call from wherever to wherever you're calling, even if it's across the oceans. You know, it's not like that. Now I can even video call people who are continents away, you know, on WhatsApp or Facebook or whatever app you're using. You know, and so the world has become a global village. And so what used to be those cultural hindrances, those things that were like, no, only we do it, or these people alone do it, those are all breaking down. And because they're breaking down, what you think somebody used to do, they have learned something new and they are not doing it anymore. And there are people in Ghana who know the American culture more than we do. They follow everything that's going on here because they are online. You know, there are people also in India who are also, you know, very well abreast with whatever is going on in the West. So the East is marrying the West right now. I mean, literally speaking, the two concepts of world systems are marrying because each one is being influenced by the global village, by the technology now. And so it's time to break those barriers that we have erected ourselves. You know, our parents may have erected them. Now, I'm not trying to be naive about the fact that some of those barriers were done for some reasons. There is a saying that back in the day, when families say don't marry from here, they may have seen a disease that ran in a family. You know, there were no medications to treat that. So if somebody was, you know, epileptic, your family would tell you don't ever marry from this family because they knew that was the only way you will avoid having children who were epileptic. They didn't even know genetics, but they found out, they figured that out, and they were doing that. But we all know that no disease is not limited to any one group of people now, you know, and so those barriers are being broken down. You know, so yeah, we understand that people of old used to have certain things. Also, some character traits may have been more identified with certain groups. And so your parents, you know, trying to protect you would say, don't ever marry from here. Yes, those days it was, but now it's not. Oh my goodness, where's my thing? Yeah, now the people that you think are good may be the people who are even doing the worst things. They may have learned certain traits from online or whatever. And I mean, technology has made us see that people are the same everywhere, whether black, white, green, red, yellow, it doesn't matter. Human beings are human beings. We're all descended from one person, from Adam. And so our evils are translated everywhere. Our goods are translated everywhere. People may have, you know, been more, you know, prone to doing certain kinds of things because of their upbringing, their culture, and the people that are around them. It doesn't paint the whole group of people like that. So there's always a caveat, there's always an exception to the rule. And so single people out there, open up your wide eyes and convince your parents, like Gifty was saying, if you find somebody there that is not from what your mom's ideal person or your dad's ideal person would be, you just have to be smart about it. If you love the person, if you don't, then of course, that whole thing is broken down because the key is love. But if you love that person and you really know that this thing can end your single life, then, I mean, that's not what I mean is it's going to end your being single, but it's going to catapult you into marriage. Then, of course, you have to take the steps to educate your family, educate your parents, educate your grandparents, whoever will be a resistance, and make enough time to get that. Don't just one day go and all the same day you are bringing the person home the same day and the next week you want an engagement. It doesn't work like that. You got to take it slow and hope that they will understand you. Usually people who love you will always come around if you actually convince them. They will initially resist, but love conquers all. So they will come around, especially if you present the person well, if you defend them and you also genuinely love them. They want the best for you. So that is some of the things that we want to say.
I think there's a comment.
There's a long comment. Now, if you have a comment, please share your comment with us. Oh, this comment is going to completely block even our view. So, brother, you will have to. Uh, let me see if we can read it. This is. It says in Ghana. Let me see if I can make it even smaller. Oops.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna come back. Yeah. So bring it back again. Let's see. And this Eric is saying in Ghana, especially in my jurisdiction, we were only exposed to little, which discouraged us from going all out, especially how you get. Oh, that's so long that I have to keep clicking it to bring it up. But those of you who are following on Facebook probably read it. Let's say it again. Meet people and other things. It made us believe that what we had by growing up, I realized there's a lot of to assimilate to by. Oh my goodness, that comment is long. That comment is long. So I'll leave the people who are watching on Facebook to read it. I'll actually put it here a little bit more and see if we can finish up with that. But I think I get the gist of what he's saying. That it used to be that people were restricted, people could not basically assimilate well, as it's usually what we need to do. So yeah, bring your comments if you have a comment and we haven't seen it. Make sure you post your comments again. I see some thumbs up. Bring your thumbs up and more comments as we move forward. All right. So yes, what are some of the things that single people or people who are handling different cultures, how do we handle it? So we talked about some of those things. You have anything there?
Yeah, I think I wrote here that we have to make friends with the people around us. We have to open up
Have
to
to open up.
everybody. Like I think we touched on it already.
We have to
Yeah, we
open
have
up.
to open
You have to
to
open up
everybody.
and do not restrict people coming close to you. And I also use this opportunity to talk to those of us who are parents also to try as much as possible to learn to break those barriers, because it will start with us. You know, if you do not break those barriers, I mean, everybody would, I'm pretty sure everybody naturally would want their kids to marry from, the same group of people that so that at least it's not like foreign to you, and all that. But if that is not happening and that single person is growing old and they find somebody who loves them from a different culture, yeah, let them be.
Mm.
Maybe that's why they are getting older and the marriage is not happening, because that is where they have to go. From among their own culture, nothing is happening, And so, with that being said, you can just let that happen. Of course, all other things being equal, if the person is a believer, if you're a Christian, has to be a Christian. You can't say that, different culture, different social group. But you guys said we should expand our social group. So now I'm going to marry somebody from a different, belief system altogether. I'm going to marry an atheist. That's not what I said. At least that's not what I said. I'm saying that, yeah, certain things still holding constant. You could still, move forward with some of these things that have become entrenched, cultural, things that we have put that are not warranted. And there's no scripture for that. No scripture says that, an American should not marry an Indian, or no scripture says that an Indian should not marry a Japanese. There's no scripture like that. It is preferred if you have people from there, because it probably will reduce your stress in marriage, because that has its own stress. But if you can handle that stress and the person you have found loves you so much, then yeah, that's what it is.
I think that is going to be another show altogether. Marrying in the interracial
Interracial,
marriage.
intercultural,
That is a
that's a
whole
whole show that we can talk
different
about the
show.
stress of interracial or intercultural marriages. I think we can do that next time. If we are.
So to touch on what you started about our parents trying to understand, we have to also know that our kids are going to school here with all different
Different kinds of
kinds of
people.
people. Those are the people that they are growing up with, they are going to school with, they are getting experience together. So their mindset and their way of life is kind of parallel, it's kind of equal
To those people.
to those people. They are being brought up around the same environment and all that. If you discourage this so much in your home, it may lead to this problem that you are going to find somebody back in your country who has different exposure, different way of understanding of life, different everything.
That's going to be a different culture too.
Yeah, and that will bring up a whole different ball game if you try and force it for them to come together. Maybe the person, the way that they interact may be different from how they've been brought up here. So we have to really open up our understanding and the way that life is changing, and our kids are going to school with all different race, the whites, the Indians, the Chinese,
The Spanish.
everybody is in their class. So they've been exposed to such people. So if you are discouraging them so much so that they stick to their kind and they come to your area and they can't find anybody, then their marriage is going to be delayed. So just let them, I think the moral standard should be there. What you believe in, what your faith is should be clear. But as long as they find somebody in that mindset, in that line of thinking, I think that race or cultural differences shouldn't be a problem at all.
My goodness, that's true. That is very true. And even you were talking about even in heterogeneous societies where we have multi-racial groups, multiple races like black, whites, Indian, Spanish, like in the United States. But when you go to a place where there is basically homogeneous, one race, like in Africa or some of the European countries where it's only white people, even there are still cultural differences. People from the south may look and speak different from people from the north. Especially in Nigeria, it's a huge number of languages. The northern part, the western, the south. It's a huge class of people. And so, and I mean, you go to Ghana, the same thing. In the US, like I was already saying, there's a southern accent. There's a West Coast who politically are always, completely to the left. For the most part, there is a southern, which is mostly, also to another extent right, and then to northeast. So there's a whole different slew of people, different belief systems, different accent, even different accent. In the same country, we all speak English, but if you bring two people from the two different areas, they may both be white and speak with different dialect. And this is the USA. So if you create those restrictions, then what you're doing for your children is make them suffer. Because when, like Gifty said, they go to school and they see all different kinds of people. So even in a homogeneous place, like I said, even in Ghana, you are going to have, and you're living in Accra, you're going to see Elwes, you're going to see Gans, you're going to see Achims, you're going to see Ashantis, you're going to see Kwus, everybody there. And so if you tell your notness, if you tell your children you can only marry from the Ewe group, and they have been associated with Kwus during their education, you are making it hard for them. They have nowhere, to find those people that you are restricting them to. So definitely, especially now, the world has become one. Like I'm saying, we are speaking now live. People are watching us from all over the world, all over. And I'm staying in my home. I'm not on CNN or anything like that. So the world is a global village. And in the same way, we have to think differently. I'm not saying compromise your values, like Gifty said. Your value system, like you believe in God, that's what it is. If that person is coming from a place where they don't, and you don't accept it, you don't accept it. But certain things like the way they dress, they wear turbans, and I don't like anybody that wear turbans. Really? What has that got to do with love? As the woman said, what's love got to do with it, right? What has love got to do with turbans? What has love got to do with the language that they speak? What has love got to do with their belief system in terms of the foods they eat, their culture, their language? What has love got to do with it? And nothing, about love in that. That is not important. What is important is the core values of your belief system. You're Christian, okay, it's got to be a Christian too. That one, the child, if they already know the principle, you don't need to tell them. If you already raised them in Christ, they know that they have to marry a Christian, because that is a whole ball game, And so let's tear down those walls. And the world is one now, and we are all one, like Michael Jackson and group said, we are the world. And in this age and era, it should be sad for people to be racist I mean, 2023 after Christ, and
It's
people still
around.
believe that some people are inferior. My goodness, where are they from? It took 2,000 years. We still haven't figured it out that we are all the same. We are the same. We are the same. There is scientific research that have been done, human genome, genetic mapping, just to see. I'm pretty sure when they were doing, they thought we were going to find something uniquely different. But there's nothing different. The gene differences between myself here and a white person is that gene that says my skin should be dark so that I can face the sun because of where I was originally made out. Staying. And the gene that is not in that person. Apart from that, everything that I have, they have. Everything they have, I have. Nothing unique. That's why we can have children. If you know genetics, if you know science, species that can produce children are usually almost the same, but they actually map the human genome. And they found that there's no difference among us. We all came from the same person. And so let your guards down, single people. If you are delaying your marriage because the person who really loved you, somebody has come around. You can tell that this man or this woman really, really loves you. They mean good. And yet they have been knocking the door. Show me to your parents. I want to marry. And you, because of where they are from, you have turned that person down.
And because of what you know or been told.
And because of what you've been told, what your parents may have told you, or your community where you go to school, because all the people there are racist, you are also picking it up. You got to be higher above than that. You got to be smarter than that. You got to be able to, live beyond those bridges that should have been broken down many years ago. So, yeah, single people, I hope and we are believing that you guys are taking a lot from this. So have an open mind and cut down the stress of cultural, problems that is hindering you from marrying early because of what you and potentially your parents are telling you. If they haven't told you, but it's your own making, then it's easy. Break those rules now as we speak. But if somebody is influencing you, you have a job to do. Convince them and let them know. Educate them and let them know that life is not like that. Life is different now. You have any? I think we are about, let me see if we have any other thing on our slide. So our final thoughts, that's what we have for our slide. What are our final thoughts? Want me to go first? My goodness, she said. Oh, she wants time to think about hers now. Man, I'm on the spot now. What are my final thoughts? So my final thoughts is that if, first of all, I'm going to be general and then I'll go to the single people. If you are culturally being stressed because you are seeing people from different cultures all around you, in fact, you have become so antagonistic to cultures that are different from your culture that you are beginning to actually harbor some hate in your heart, I implore you to check yourself because you are destroying yourself. You are destroying yourself. Hate only does one thing. It destroys. Love helps, but hate destroys. So if somebody is different from you, somebody has different tongue or different language, somebody eats different, they dress different, they wear a turban, they don't wear a turban, they wear a tie, they don't wear a tie, they are men, but they wear skirts, whatever it is that is different from them. The best thing that could happen to you, I'm not talking about them, but you, is to learn to embrace them and love them the same. Because ultimately, they are human beings. They are human beings. And if our world, if we can learn to love people around us, regardless of who they are, just embrace everybody, our world will become a better place. And then my thought for the single people is that if you ever turn somebody down because of where they are from, everything else checked, right? But because of where they are from, because of their culture, I reconsider if that person is still available, repent and go back and say, let's be friends at least. Let me watch you again. If it's too late, open your eyes because you never know who God has prepared for you. As far as I know, when God was promising Adam about giving him a helpmate, God didn't say that I'm going to make a helpmate who looks exactly. In fact, God even made them different. Look at my helpmate. She has long hair. I have short hair. Hallelujah. Right? She's a woman. I am a man. God brought somebody actually different for them, you know. So your helpmate could look different. They could have a different language. They could believe in different things. But as long as they all agree that you serve God, that is what matters. And so open up your eyes and open up your heart to receive from God so that your stress as a single person will go down. Make all the social connections. In our last episode, we said that one of the things to make you marry fast is to expand your social circle. So expand your social circle to include everybody who is not from your original culture. Don't just be a cultural island in a huge place of people, living among millions of people and yet being alone because nobody around you comes from your hometown. No, my goodness. No. Don't do that to yourself. It is not even good for your sanity, your mental health sake. Even if you can't go to the level of marrying them, for the sake of your own health, for the sake of your own mental health, come down and be linked up to people around you. Let's get connected because we are all one. All right. So that is my.
I think you said it all. You said it all. You said it all. So do away with your prejudice. Every prejudice that you have, just reconsider, like my husband is saying. You know, you may be wrong, totally wrong,
You may be
because
wrong.
of your ignorance. So just open up, get to know people, and hold on to your values, though, as you do so. And I know at the appropriate time, the Lord will come through for you.
My goodness. That was a wonderful show. So we are bringing the show to a close now. We see 8 thumbs up right now, and I know other people are watching elsewhere that we probably are not seeing. I know those who watch on LinkedIn, I don't see your comments. And so if you haven't commented, it's still time. You can still comment. Or if you watch after the live, we watch on the replay, make sure you comment questions and all that. Last show had a lot of comments and a lot of likes. We have seen a lot of people watching on Facebook. Please share the stream with somebody, share so that we will all benefit together. I was talking to somebody who was a regular on our show in the comments, and he said, I wish your show goes on multiple places where other people would see. Unfortunately, all we can do is to ask you to share it. If you don't share it, nobody else sees it. It just stays on my own YouTube channel and on my own Facebook page. But if you share and you like and you subscribe, perchance somebody else in your social circles would see it and we will have fun together. So thank you for spending your time with us. So as we bring the show to a close, we know that Father's Day is coming up, the men. And so we will take a few weeks to talk about men issues, maybe the stress that fathers are facing. You know, how people are being stressed in fatherhood. Most people don't regard fathers as much.
As mothers?
Yeah. You know, I see that difference all the time. When Mother's Day is coming and you go to the retail shops, you see queues, people, you know, buying stuff. But when it's Father's Day, the stores are quieter. It's sad. So it pains me. So fathers, we're going to be on a live, talk about what we are doing not right and what we are doing right. And hopefully we will also learn to decrease some of the stresses in fatherhood. So we're going to talk about, you know, handling stress as a father and all the other good stuff. All right. So until we see you again, we'll say, Beloved, we wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. Thanks for staying and watching and spending your afternoon with us.
I appreciate you.
God bless you.